Hello, today, September 2015. Today I'd like to talk about the geopolitical situation of the Russian Federation, which is not a very easy matter. If we think for a moment what happened in the last 25 years after the disappearance of the Soviet Union, if we think that during the Cold War era both sides operate with great restraint because they knew that a war between them might be the last one, might be catastrophic. Now things change. I will not going to start talking about the recent history of the Russian Federation because it's well known. But I think that we are in a very dangerous position because the leadership of the United States don't take very seriously Russia as an enemy like the Soviet Union, because the Soviet Union was a communist country and they were always fear of the communist leadership. They were never sure what they could done. But since the Soviet Union disappeared and the leadership of the Russian Federation are truly capitalistic persons which rule a huge country that inherit the might of the Soviet Union. But it's not the Soviet Union. And the society is not a socialist society. Probably at the bottom, the working people are not, I didn't find a new identity. The ruling class and the emerging middle classes, they find an identity. They are capitalist persons. They believe in the capitalist system because they are making a real good living. I'm referring to the upper echelons of the middle classes, of course, the ruling class, the oligarchs. They live a fantastic life, real fantastic life. So it's a different country and it's a different power. For that particular reason, my thinking is that the leadership of the United States, they don't think and they don't fear the leadership of the Russian Federation. I'm talking about the ruling classes and especially the upper echelon, because they have the perception that unless they are in very difficult situation, but even in that situation I don't think that they don't think that they are going to unleash all the nuclear power. They don't think the Russian Federation will start a nuclear war. That's my thinking. That's the reason they are pushing every possibility. They're exploiting every possibility that presents itself. On top of this, since it's not a socialist country, since it's a capitalist country, it's ruling by capitalists. And the capitalists need the middle class to have it function. Otherwise, the capitalist system wouldn't impossible to work without a middle class who support them. And this is the present situation of Russia today. They're confused. Their confusion comes from the reason that they never expected to be rejected by the other industrial powers, not even by the United States of America. But the United States of America doesn't fear Russia as a capitalist system. It only fears the nuclear power of the Russian Federation, which is the only country on earth that can annihilate the United States. As well, the United States can annihilate the Russian Federation. But they are not very fearful of this particular leadership. Although with the emerging of the Putin as a president of Russia in the last 15 years, although he ruled 4 years as a prime minister, but he was the real ruler, we don't know who are the people who support them. I don't know. I know there are some voices that are not quite comfortable with the situation that Russia is facing. They are the ones who like to try to amend the situation with the United States, and in other words, is a sort of capitulation, might be the second one. And there are some, as far as I know, the prominent ones might be Glazier, might be Fursov, and in the other spectrum, perhaps the idea of Eurasia with Professor Dugin. But they have a different view. They want to stop the aggression, the bullying of the United States, and establish a red line. That's my perception. The United States did all what other empires might do, trying to displace them. And they're doing and working very efficiently on that matters. They are surrounded with bases, they are surrounded with early warning systems. They are placing all their assets in positions. And they dare to attack Russia Federation through Ukraine, which is the last, I said, line of defense. Then comes Belarusia. Then what? Moscow? A revolution in Moscow? The geopolitical situation of Russia, from my point of view, is fragile. Because since it has been trying to have relations with their foes, with the principal foe, and the collaborators or vassals, UK, Poland, the former Soviet republics, the Baltic republics. They don't have, my perception is they don't have a strategy, a road plan to do this, to do that, to do the other one. They have the idea force to neutralize Russia, neutralize its power. So time, they can wait, like they wait with the Soviet Union. So if Russia doesn't establish a real line whether they say, if you cross this line, might be catastrophe for everybody. They will understand that. I think so. I hope so. Otherwise, we will live in a very fragile environment, whether anything might happen, a miscalculation, because we'll never know what the foes are going to do, especially the ones who can push the bottom and make the whole thing blow. That's the reason that geopolitics today are different from the last century. I mean, from the classical geopoliticians, Spike, Maclinder, Haushofer, and the others. And also the geopolitics of Eurasia is what thought about 100 years ago, perhaps some more. Some said it was previous. Eurasia was very important. But for the future, we are in the 21st century. It's not whether the one who controls the Eurasian landmass or the seas around the Eurasian landmass, is the one who controls the space and the cyber communications. The one who can neutralize their opponents with the space power and with the latest technology on the cyberspace. So this is the panorama we are facing. The problem in Ukraine have to be solved, have to be settled, and a red line have to be established. That's my thinking, my personal thinking about these matters. We refer to the geopolitics of Russia. Thank you.